What's up now, friends? In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I did this cute Tinkerbell character. I will do a video on the base nails in a later date, but for now I'm just going to show you guys how I did the Tinkerbell. It's super easy to do, and all you really need are these tools. You need a pencil, some fine nail art brushes, thick opaque black gel paint, thin opaque gel polish, and a matte top coat. So let's get started. Right away, I head on over to Pinterest and I pick a few photos that I think I could use for inspiration. So my main photo is the one on the left, and then I used some inspiration from the other two photos as well. So the first thing I do is I just grab a pencil. You can use any pencil. I prefer to use a mechanical pencil, but I didn't have one at this point, so I just sharpened a pencil and that's what I used. So this is just going to be the outline. So this isn't a really big deal. You're not going to want to get this perfect. You're just going to want to get a general outline of detail. So to start, I do this on top of a finish filed nail. You can do it on top of nude or white. I prefer to do it on top of nude, but do whatever's best for you. So right away, I pick parts of the character that I'm going to want in my nail design. So the nails are small, so you're not going to be able to get a whole character in there usually. So for me, I wanted to make sure I got her hair and her bun and part of her neck in there. When it comes to characters, eyes take me the longest to do. So I just draw a line in the middle of the face, and that just helps me kind of get it where I need it to go. So first I draw the eyes. I do end up removing everything that I'm doing right now. I just wanted to show you guys some of the mistakes that you might make, which are doing the eyes too big, that don't make sense on the face, stuff like that. So here I just did a general outline of her eyes and her eyebrows and her eyelashes, and then I again erased it and redid it. And then I repeated that on her other eye. I actually, now looking back at this, think that these eyes looked perfectly fine, but for some reason while I was doing the design, I ended up erasing them and redoing them. So in the original photo, she doesn't have a nose, so that's why I used other photos to replicate the nose, because I did want to add one in there. And in the last photo I used, she didn't have lips, so I did use the second photo that I had and use that for the lip inspiration. So here I erase the eyes again, and I'm just replacing them just to make sure they're more even. You want it to be as symmetrical as it can, or else your face will look a little wonky. So after I got the whole outline done, that's when I switched to the black. So now I'm using Magic Gel's Universal Black. This is a really great gel paint for painting details. So the two brushes I'm going to be using here are the Sin City Nails Art Brush and the Ugly Duckling Detail Brush. So the detailer is super small, you can see there. And the art brush is a little bit thicker. It's thicker in the base and then it thins out at the very tip, which I really like. So this outline is the second outline. So this outline, again, isn't going to be such a big deal. You do not need to make sure it's perfectly even. You don't need to make sure that the lines are not too thick or anything, because you will go over these again in the end. So this, I just do a quick little outline. First, I go over the easier parts like her chin and her hair, and then I make sure to give that all a flash cure before working on her eyes and stuff. So you're just going to want to fill up your brush with some paint, and as you can see, it's not super full of paint, and I use the very tip of my brush for the most part to paint on the lines. So I gave that a flash cure, and then I'm working on her eyes. Like I said, if you do it too thick, it will not matter, because this will get covered with paint again before doing your finish outline. So it's almost like you get to do two rough outlines before your actual outline, which is kind of great for someone who's not as good at hand painting. So to clean up my lines, I'm just taking an art brush. So this is just a 3D brush that I decided to use for cleaning up the lines. The reason I use a 3D art brush is because it has a really pointy end. So I just wipe it in a little bit of alcohol, and then I use the very tip of it to clean up any mistakes that I made. So this whole nail design right now, I did cut out any boring parts, but it's all done in real time. So this is how slow I was painting. So I switched here to the tiny art brush detailer from Ugly Duckling just to do the eyelids. And then I switched back and forth between the brushes. So you might notice the black brush is the art brush and the white one is the detailer. So I gave that a full cure. And now we get to work on the art. So I come in and I'm using some gel polishes. These are from Jellyfit Australia. So this is the gel polish I like to use personally for painting, but you're just going to want to test out a few things. There's certain brands that'll work really well for this. So just test it out and see what works best, because these are great for flash curing. So sometimes I mix my own colors together. Sometimes the Jellyfit colors work well, but you want a brand that you can use that can mix really well to create your own colors. When painting on, now you can fill up your brush with a lot more color. And then I just use the very tip of my brush to pull it into those tight spaces, like the very tips of her hair and stuff like that. So you can give any parts that you need a flash cure. So I did flash cure her hair, and now I'm coming in to do her skin. So again, I filled up my brush with a lot more product, and now I'm just going over the parts of where her skin would be. So I put a lot more product on and I just wipe it around, and then I'm gonna even this out a little bit more. But this will get covered again because I do the color twice. So I am just doing this as a rough color in, and it's kind of fun because the gel will kind of go where it needs to go and it won't overlap the black and it won't bleed, especially this brand of gel. It's really great. So I just kind of fill in where it needs to go, and if you do overlap your black, it'll be okay because again, like I said, we do the color twice and the outline twice. So at this point, now I'm just taking my brush to sort of even it out and make sure there's no liquid filled spots that are overpowering. I want it to be a little bit more even. So I gave that a cure, and I'm coming in to do the eyes. And then the lips with a pink. So we will fill this all in, and then I end up doing a bit of contouring and adding some color for shading and stuff like that as well. So once I get all that cured, then I come and I redo all that color all over again. So I'm building up that yellow for the hair, and I'm going to be building up that neutral skin tone color for her skin as well. I gave the skin a cure, and you can see it's starting to come together really nicely. So now I'm just building up those eyes again with the blue, and I'm going to do the lips and the whites of the eyes as well. So after that's been cured, I come in and now I'm adding some shading and darkening up some spots just to give it a little bit more of a realistic look. So you can do a lot of this, or you could just do a little bit of it. And for this design, I just did a little bit. So I just added a little bit of different color into her cheeks and on her lips and in her hair and her eyes, just to make it stand out and pop a little bit more. So then I'm just adding these white dots in her eyes, kind of like a little twinkle. That way you know which way she's looking. And if you make any mistake, again, just use your cleanup brush, and everything has been cured around it, so you can't mess that up at all. So then after that's been cured, you got all that in place. Now you're coming back, and this is when you're going to want to do your final outline. So this is the more important outline. You're going to want to make sure that you don't do anything too thick or messy or sloppy. So that's where your cleanup brush will come into play the most to clean up any mistakes that you make. But this will be a little bit easier because you already do have that black outline under there, and the gel does kind of go where it was before. So it's a little easier at this point now to get that outline nice and perfect. So you're going to want to clean up any mistakes that you make with your cleanup brush. And then you can switch back and forth between your bigger art brush and your smaller art brush to get into those tiny details and stuff if you need to. So here I'm using the tiny detail brush from Ugly Duckling to get in the small grooves of her lips and her eyes. So now I'm almost done, and that's when I take a good look at her and I stare at her face and I stare at the pictures and I see what could I change about this. So I know I still need to add her eyelashes, so I'll do that in a minute and I'll show you guys what I'm going to do there. Here I'm just adding a little bit more black paint around that eyeball. So I give that a full cure, and now I'm going to come in with a matte top coat. So before I do the eyelashes, I'm just applying a matte top coat to kind of even out the whole design. That way it'll make it a little bit easier when I want to do her little lines for her eyelashes. So that was fully cured. I'm just cleaning it off, and now I'm coming in and I'm thickening up her eyelash line just to make it look a little bit more feminine and girly. And having it be smooth makes it a little bit easier to get the eyelashes in, especially on her left side here where the eyelash would overlap the hair. And once I've got her lashes in place and everything looks good, that's when I give it a final top coat. So here I decided to do matte. You could do matte or shiny, whatever you prefer, and give that a full cure. And here is the finished design. So I hope you guys like this. I hope some tips and tricks will help you when you create some characters or some hand painting. Let me know down below what you'd like me to do next, and check out my hand painting tutorial playlist for more hand painted designs. And check back to see how the rest of this nail design was created. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.